Oh, is that Nancy?
No, I think it's
Oh, Josh?
Josh.
Josh
Josh
is
Young
out
is
there.
our tech guy who's doing the meeting. Sorry, Nancy may join us. Thank you.
Sorry, let me just write this down. And the voucher went out by email if everybody had a chance to sign that. And I think I was the last one, so I think that's done. And then the approval of the March 2nd minutes that went out with this packet. Would anyone like to make a motion?
I move to approve the minutes from March 2nd, 2020.
That was
Lee.
Second.
Robin Sue is the second. Is there any discussion? See none. All in favor? Oh wait, I got to go around the circle. Hold on.
Sorry.
I'm gonna get it. Do I vote? I don't vote, right?
Yeah. Actually, normally what you do is you'll call the roll, and normally it's your call, but normally the chair would vote last.
Okay. Marie,
Yes, approve.
Robin Sue,
Approve.
Dwayne,
Approve.
and Lily.
Approve.
And I approve, so that's unanimous. And then Barb, we'll start with your principal report.
It's good to see
Madam
everybody.
Chair, Madam Chair,
Yes.
I
That's
just wanted to note public comment. I checked, there was no public comment received prior to this meeting.
Okay.
And Brian Boardman is on through YouTube, as I understand it. And I said to him if he had any questions or comments, that he was going to text my cell phone so that he could be included in it.
Awesome. Hi, Brian.
Okay, so we miss seeing everybody, not only the adults, but the kids too. I'll make it brief. I don't know if Mark had said this, but he has a 6 o'clock Frenchboro meeting, and we're on this. No, that's all right. And we're on the same feed, so we have to be done at 6. So for school culture goal, people have been really working hard to see one another, either through virtually, either through classes or social opportunities. Specialists are jumping in and meeting with classes, even though they're not having their own quote classes, they're tagging on to folks, and that's been great. We've actually got some clubs going through Music Olympiad, music lessons, Dungeons and Dragons, book clubs, PE activities, instrumental lessons and groups. So there are some things going on for kids outside of just the normal academic information going through. Heather and I have been meeting bi-weekly with teachers on an individual basis through Google Hangouts. So while we continue to have our team meetings weekly, we also think it's important to check in with them individually to make sure everything's going okay. We also are dropping in on the common studies when we can. In addition to those groups, we're meeting with ed techs and secretaries, so that's been good. Our support team is meeting twice a week for the student support team. And again, it's just a follow-up for any student or family who's experiencing difficulty. And this is done through either self-identification, through our family survey, through email. A lot of parents are reaching out to Heather and I, or just through teacher concern. We've established what we call contingency buddies for each grade level team. And that just means that each grade has a backup with specialists and ed techs. So if someone were not able to meet with their class for whatever reason, then usually it's an ed tech that's most familiar with the classroom, the morning meeting and the routines and things like that to jump in. But we also have every specialist assigned to one of these groups. They meet once a week right after our faculty meeting on Mondays. We've also connected with Chris McLaughlin from Acadia Hospital. He presented a Zoom exhaustion talk recently at one of our virtual faculty meetings. And he's going to offer optional drop-in sessions for any staff members on Monday. Edie and Carol Rosinski are also offering some drop-in times on different afternoons, just in case staff need them. So academic updates, we're working on the end of year recording and reporting. It will be a K-8 system. It will include parent conversations, end of year parent conversations, along with a narrative letter that just points out the strengths, what are the next steps, etc. So that more information, I think, will be coming, more detailed information will come through your AOS meeting, I believe. All spring coaches and advisors have been compensated for the season lost. For professional development, common studies continue. Our ed techs are taking advantage of the PD that Julie had set up. PTSA did a beautiful thing with, they celebrated Teacher Appreciation Week with a slideshow, and that was really cute to have the kids involved. I thought that was great. Community parent, teacher resources. We have the MDI community resources page. We've shared a live link to it. It really is extraordinary what our community district-wide has been able to offer parents. And if you haven't seen that particular page, the MDI community resources, I really would ask that you look at it. It was developed through the school counselors and others, and people just keep feeding things into it. And it actually even has a part where if you want to volunteer a service or help somebody else, you can put in your information and they'll match you up with someone who's in need. So that's all great. Building and maintenance, we had the custodians back on site today. Peter's been on site most days, checking in, monitoring systems, helping with delivery of food or supplies. On Thursday, April 23rd, which was the Thursday just prior to April break, there was a fire out back by the shed. It was inadvertently started by one of the residents at Rodick Lorraine, and the police are working on restitution, but probably we won't have much. It singed the back of the trash bin areas and stuff. So let's see, we're really hoping to take advantage of all this extra time and get the school buildings really to a state that they haven't been in the past, you know, with all the little finishing work done and the painting, etc., because we will have extra time. Food service, a shout out to Tina and her crew for providing breakfast and lunches. Right now, we're serving approximately 70 students for this service. We also had the new equipment installed, and that looks great. Technology, the iPads and hotspots have been delivered to the district, and we're in the process of just finding out the hotspots have gone out, but we're in the process now of finding out K2 who needs to have more secure technology with the new iPads. And that, I think, is about it for principal's report. Were there any questions? Heather, did you want to add anything? Oh, Mark, I'm sorry.
Christy, if I may, 'cause
Please.
Barb certainly won't, but you know, in addition to all the accolades, I just need to say you guys can be really proud of your principal and your administrators, Heather and Barb, but Barb in particular has led people coming together across food service and providing meals. And it's just been amazing. She's been a taskmaster in addition to managing all the stuff for her own school with the help of Heather. Heather's been great too, but these guys are knocking it out of the park. And I just wanted to give a shout out in particular to Barb. We're really thankful for what she's doing, and couldn't say enough because she won't give herself a pat on the back. So I think we need to. Thanks.
Well, thank you.
Barb,
Thank you.
you stole my report there, Mark.
Well, but more importantly, I hope you all know that Heather has been having Heather curbside pickup, porch pickup.
I've
And-
seen her porch.
Oh my gosh. And it has been wonderful, honestly.
I'm on her porch
without-
like weekly at this point.
Right. Without it, the technology would not be where it's at, and the supplies. So it has been an extraordinary effort really on everyone's part. Peter's really stepped up helping families delivering food if they can't get in, and learning supplies. I mean, this has been when we've seen people rise to the top, and we've seen the best of the best out of our folks. And it's really Although it's challenging, it's, like any time when we need to, we all come together and we get the job done. So,
One more quick one, Christy, and that just goes to Dwayne. When I look at these screens, I think it's a bad version of Hollywood Squares, but Dwayne over here, I just want to say thank you to Dwayne for everything he did. If you don't know, he coordinates a lot of the health and safety items through the hospital, and he's been invaluable to our team. And Dwayne, thank you very much in helping us navigate something that really isn't in our wheelhouse. Appreciate everything you're doing.
Any other comments about the principal's report? No, and I don't have anything to say under the school committee chair, except I was just gonna say, kind of echo what Mark said and thank all the teachers and ed techs and everybody for stepping up, and Heather and Barb and Julie's joined us now, and Nancy, and I know it's a lot on all you guys redoing budgets and recalculating and just thanks a lot. So let's move on. I'm trying to the school improvement bond. I've put this on here because obviously we didn't get to present our bond to the town council, and as things progressed, it became clear that this is probably not the time to be asking the town of Bar Harbor to float a bond, especially with everyone's businesses up in the air. So my recommendation, and I think I emailed you guys, was to pull this from the November ballot. And I don't know if you guys want to talk about what we think the next steps would be. We would be looking at possibly next May, or I thought even looking at either another workshop for the board or regathering the school improvement committee to reevaluate. I feel like it's so up in the air right now that I'm not sure definitively what you wanted to do. So if anyone has any comments on that, Dwayne?
Yeah, I tend to agree that now is definitely not the time to ask for a bond. I don't think we necessarily have to do the reconvene the school improvement committee. I don't think the recommendation is going to change. All it is a date. We may want to give a heads up to everybody and have their thoughts, but the one question I do have on that is, are we still going to need money for, to make repairs as as this is going to be pushed off, obviously, probably another year at least. And
right,
is that
and we
gonna
do
need
have money,
additional?
Dwayne.
Is that something that we need to do?
Sorry, we do have money in
Oh.
the CIP currently for repairs. We have $250,000 in there. And assurance that if something catastrophic happened, they would help us.
Okay, that's good to know. Thank you.
Do we need to oh, sorry, Lily.
I'm just curious, just because of timing, I know right now isn't a good time, but could we change the question to, in terms of having people, I don't know, now that I'm saying this out loud, it sounds kind of silly. I'm just trying to think of if we can keep the ball rolling forward, if there's some way we could vote to maybe create this bond in an abnormal time, like if we put it in front of people that we get the bond at, not in November, but in next June or something. I don't know, some time frame so that we don't have to wait a full year.
Well, the vote could go to the June ballot. So instead
okay.
of November, it could just move forward to the following June ballot if we wanted. And I think the town council can call a special meeting and vote anytime they want. I don't know that they would entertain that other than June or November, but my suggestion would be, right now is to pushing it forward to the June of 2021, if that,
Okay.
and obviously we'll have time to meet between now and then, I hope. Because we still have the whole kind of the PR campaign, in public sessions that we were trying to get in, which we obviously are going to have to wait to have until either the fall or late winter.
I'm just curious if we have the confidence that our building system and our building itself and systems within the building are going to be able to survive as long as it takes to get this you know, approved. So I
Go
I
ahead.
think we're going to be doing what we all don't want to do and just throwing money at something that's kind of just going to buy us a little time, but it's going to be very expensive.
We're going to go ahead and reseal the two roofs and just expand on the seals that they have. So that's going to be about $15,000, which we have in the budget. And, you know, it's going to save us in the long run from having to do repairs constantly. So I think that's going to be in good shape. We're also getting a bid right now, or getting estimates. I won't even say it's a bid, but guesstimates as to if we were to fix all of the pavement, like repair the cracks and totally reseal it, how much that would be, because that will get us a couple years in there. We'll continue, we have money in the budget to retube as necessary the boilers. So we've got that going. The air handlers, we're having all of the filters changed out in another month or so, so that even though they've been done recently, we want them up to speed and going. And they'll probably be redone again in August or weeks before we're able to get back into the building with kids. So that should be all set. You know, again, the one that keeps coming up is the water main, and there's no sense in putting $300,000 into connecting that water main to Connors. I mean, the water is fine. It's just discolored on weekends, first thing Monday morning, and we just run it until it's fine. But all of the filtered water coolers and fountains are perfect. You know, I mean, they go through a filter and there's never a problem with having to flush those out. It's just simply the toilets and the sinks.
And Barb, we do regular testing as well on our.
Right, it's all town water.
Yep.
Yep, no, so that should be fine. So I think those are the main areas that, you know, could cause us some issues. We're trying to be proactive with the roof right now and possibly the pavement, although that's not necessarily a safety thing. It's certainly, once we lose it, it's going to be so much more costly to try to put it back together. So we're just going to try to hold on to that. Trying to think if there's anything else. Marie?
Could you remind us, I just don't remember about the issues of the boilers. I remember that one just had to be retubed, but is it, I can't remember, there's two or there's one, but it feeds both buildings. And if it breaks, we're in trouble, or can you kind of go, I can't remember the intricacies of that system.
Well, because it's unique. First of all, there were two boilers and they both work to support each building. So there's not one boiler assigned to each building. They both are able to feed both buildings through a steam line that runs between the Emerson building and into the Connors building. Okay, so they're Cleaver Brooks boilers, which are the best. They were the best you could buy 25, 30 years ago when you got them. And they continue to do a good job. They are on their final legs, I will say. But you're going to get more time out of these Cleaver Brooks than you will get out of brand new ones. I mean, that's just the way it is. So yes, we're piecemealing it by flushing out the system, putting in new tubes when we need to, and trying to just maintain service as best we can. But I think right now you're all set. As far as heating, when we have cold winters, we did put 2 electrical heaters in the classrooms closest to the playground in Connors, because that wing tended to be cold. That did its job, and those seem to be working. We have space heaters when we need to in the different classrooms. Those seem to be working. And so we didn't tend to have as many issues with heat this year as we've had in the past. But that's not to say, you know, we won't in the future. But we did have a visual check of the steam line, which I think is one of the things that we were most concerned about. And that looks to be in great shape. That's what we were told, that there's no corrosion and it's working fine. So I think that would be our next real casualty or catastrophe if that went. And right now it's in good shape. So.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else along those lines? So just for notes, I'm gonna put school improvement bond, pull from November ballot, next steps to be determined.
Do we need to vote to pull that from the November ballot? I mean, we've already informed council pretty much. That was our intent.
If it's the will of the school committee, I think anything you can do to formalize it is certainly recommended, but not
Okay.
required. But it would probably be prudent to do so if that's what you'd like to do.
Would anybody like to make a motion?
I'll move to approve.
Second. This is
Very
Dwayne.
depressing, but I know it has to be done, but just another casualty of this.
Yep, this is the move to pull it from the November ballot, next actions to be determined, not necessarily. We're not definitively saying may or, okay. Any more discussion on that? Okay.
Christie, if you could just read into the record who made the motion
Right,
and the
so-
second, and please, thank you very much.
Yep, moved by Robin Sue and seconded by Dwayne to remove the school improvement bond from the November ballot, next steps to be determined. And Marie, your vote.
Sorry, yes, I thought I was off mute. I approve.
Dwayne,
Yes.
Robin Sue,
Approve.
Lily, and I approve as well. Sadly, but I approve. It makes me very sad. There was a lot of work to get to that point, and we had the PowerPoint presentation and the executive summary, and we were ready to go, and just really bad timing. And so, but you know, everything happens for a reason, right? So we'll regroup and we'll figure it out.
And who knows, it might come in lower. Construction costs may be lower.
True enough. That's not been our luck, but I'm gonna
We're gonna go with it.
go with it. Okay,
Amen.
There's always a silver lining.
that's right. The discussion on the budget. I don't know if you want to, I don't know if this is Barb or Nancy or Mark or.
Well, I think if I may, Christie, Barb is in the best position. I mean, when the lady can talk about boilers the way she does, she's in the best position to talk about budget. So, but Nancy is here joining us. We've had some discussions about some of these recommendations, and I'll just say, I'm proud of Barb for recognizing as a leader, she's fighting for the resources for kids and teachers, but at the same time recognizing the position our communities are at. So these recommendations don't come lightly, but I support everything Barb's about to present to you, and Nancy's available also to answer any questions. So take it away, Barb.
There's not a whole lot to discuss. I can tell you that we have pulled the behavior specialist position that Patty Gallias has been in. It's going to hurt, but I do believe that we can find ways to work through it. Whether we give Patty some release time throughout the week or the year or however, maybe stipend her to continue doing some of her CPS workshops after school, those kinds of things. But we'll get through it. I think we're all in a better place to work together, and just having had her for the year has been really powerful, especially at the K-4 level. So I think right now it's prudent to pull that position. We adjusted the Blue Cross Blue Shield to reflect the 6% increase. And we also adjusted the heating oil, which came in at an incredibly great price. So that was good.
And that was about what, a $50,000 savings.
Yeah, it was, we're at $1.25 a gallon, our lock-in price. And Nancy, I think we were at $2.29 this year.
Sorry, hit the wrong button. We were at, like 2.29 or, so it's like almost
Tough, cheap.
$1 a
We
gallon.
had budgeted, Nancy, what, $2.75?
Yes, we had.
So yeah, it's,
So,
Yeah, it's showing a $20,000 savings in that.
Yeah.
So altogether, Nancy, I don't have the total difference in budget from one to the next? Is it 190
Yeah, 199,942
is the increase?
is the increase, yes, from last year, from this year, current year.
Right, which would be a 3.07% increase. And for the
Appropriation,
appropriations, it's 1.56.
yeah,
So for $100,000 value, for every $100,000 value home, it's $5.87 increase.
correct.
So, I think, were there any questions on that? Everybody feel okay?
The only thing is, Christie, if I might, again, if it would be recommended that the board, if they're in agreement, vote to accept those changes, because anything that's been sent to the select board certainly needs to be updated. And it's also important that the community know that the school committee is taking action to recognize that, these things are not, everybody's feeling it, and we're just trying to put ourselves in a good position school-wise to do what's right for kids, but also recognize where our communities are in. So any type of a vote that you might wish to have would be important, I think, at this point, because what we've sent previously would be different.
And what I see here is that the appropriation is now, the increase is 1.56% in the new budget, down from 3.06%. So that's a pretty significant change. The total, I don't know if you guys have the budgets in front of you, but the town appropriation was $5,848,190, and it changes to $5,763,043. And the total budget looks like it's going from $6,763,666 to $6,702,519. Is that right? Okay.
Christy, can I just jump in for a quick second?
Yes, please.
So I had also sent out possible savings for this year's budget, right? And just so you know, I mean, these are sort of guesstimates, but I want you to know that any savings automatically are carried over to the FY21 budget. And I anticipate that there's going to be more than 103,000 saved. It's just really hard to, figure out. We do have additional costs right now. We've had to purchase supplies for student learning bags. We've had additional cleaning supplies, food service, although most of the food service will be covered through the summer food service program. But, little things like computer ink and masks and paper and, for the home offices, printer, those kinds of things. We're keeping a separate ledger of all the COVID expenses, but not everything will be covered through the CARES Act. So I just want you to know and just, again, reassure everybody that we're not spending money for the sake of spending money. We're not looking to spend any money this year to, buy what we couldn't buy for next year. Okay, so it is what we have, but there should probably be, I'm guessing, Nancy, 100,000, maybe a little bit more additional carryover.
I don't know I know, because the thing is, your personnel, you're going to be spending that anyway.
Right. No, I just was taking it out of substitutes, academic programs, music enrichment, contingency, stuff that we're not using right now.
I think the important thing that Barb said for everybody in the public to recognize is that we're not spending any money that might be residual savings. So she may be, and she's probably right in the ballpark. It could be a little less, it might be a little more, but I think the thing to bear in mind is that most people are going to think, yeah, there's savings, and there are, but there are things that we've had to spend money on too. So, but at the end of the day, we can't spend any of the savings, and Barb's dead on. That'll go to carry forward, and we can report out exactly what happened in each account.
And that money too, if carry forward, could be carried forward to the 21-22 budget again. So it's not, we're not spending it. It's just being carried forward.
Correct.
Marie, do you have a question?
This is just I mean, this is just obvious, but I just want to we should also remind ourselves that we saved this money, but we lost a lot. You know, I mean, this is not just, and I know no one's saying it, but just in general, I think it's important to remember that it was at the expense of a lot. It's at the expense of our kids' education. It's at the expense of the mental, you know, what our teachers and our staff are going through and our communities going through. So I love, and I always respect Barb being able to put the, you know, the positive spin on things, and always very, and Nancy always very astute with the budget and honest. And I think that's why the people of Bar Harbor and the town council respects the budget that's put forth every year by the school. But we have lost. This was not, you know, this is a definite loss. And later on, you know, when we get to some of the other items, I think we really need to talk hard about how we're going to gain that back. And it might not just be, you know, it might be money, it might be data, it might be time. It's probably a combination of all those things, but we need to figure out a plan to get those stuff back that we've lost. So just want to acknowledge that.
And I will note too that I asked Barb to put this together for this meeting because I had been questioned by people, and you know, you're all seeing people, you know, looking for places to cut, looking for savings. Everyone's worried. And so I just asked her to give us a little insight onto how things were so that we would have some answers moving forward if you were questioned. Mark.
Christy, I appreciate Marie bringing that up, because I want folks to know too that none of these things come without pain. And at the end of the day, while trying to be cognizant of the times we're in, we also want to be careful about not creating a cliff and a gap that we have to rebound from. So, I mean, we're trying to do the right thing and walk the line, but yeah, we hope we don't send an unintended message by doing that, because these don't come without pain.
Before we vote too, I also will note that I talked to Cornell and let him know we would be adjusting the budget. And, you know, like normally they would have already sent that budget to warrant by now, and we would have to make all these changes on the floor, but the budget hasn't gone to warrant yet. So all these adjustments will be made, and we won't be making them on the floor of town meeting. So would anyone like to make a motion to accept this budget? Anyone?
I'll make a motion to accept the budget.
For $6,702,519.
Yes.
Can I get a second?
I second.
Christy, may I?
Yes, that was.
Nancy, you just want to verify that amount? Is that accurate, Nancy?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, any more discussion on the budget? Lily?
I just have a question. Maybe Barb could answer this, but is this going to put us in any kind of a predicament going forward if things, you know, everything resumes in the fall and we want to beef anything up? Are we going to be able to make any changes, or are we going right down to the skinny bare bones of what we can do?
Well, you always have a contingency fund in there, you know, to the tune of about $40,000, which is not a lot, but it does help. What we're doing is adjusting the budget to the accurate figures of 6% on the Blue Cross Blue Shield, to the actual figure of the heating oil, what it will be, and then eliminating the position. So we haven't touched like the Music Enrichment Fund, which is actually going to be Music and Arts Enrichment Fund. We haven't touched any positions other than eliminating, quote, the new position, if you will. And it's not going to hinder us from hiring people we need to replace. So I'm not sure, Lily, if that answers the question.
And just one other question. So that position was originally just a 1-year thing, right? But then
right.
we re-upped it, right? Before?
Yes. Yeah.
So what does that mean for the person in the position?
Well, she'll go back to second grade, which had been the original plan had we not taken the vote we did in December to
Okay.
support another. And actually, she would have had to apply for the position. It wasn't a guarantee.
Okay,
So she's
So she's
back
not-
in second grade.
and she feels well supported and happy and
Absolutely.
good
I mean,
about this going forward?
yeah, she knew that it was a gamble. And I think, I don't want to speak for her, but in some of our conversations, she really felt it was a gift. I mean, we gave her a gift, you know, it was like a paid sabbatical, but she was able to do some great stuff. And hopefully this is going to continue. It will look different, but it doesn't mean that we're not going to continue doing some of the great work we did.
Okay,
And we can revisit this position later. It's not over forever, I think. Right.
thank
Right,
you.
but one thing to think about is that she also worked on increasing capacity of everyone
Mhm.
at the school, and she did a really great job about that.
Thank you, Julie. Robin Sue, did you have a question?
No, I was looking at the wrong email, so my numbers weren't jiving, but I just realized that Nancy sent a new email, so.
Okay. Any other discussion? Okay, let's vote. Marie? Are you approving the
Yes.
budget?
I was the one that made the motion.
Well, I have to
I
ask.
got it. Okay.
Dwayne, are you voting yes?
Yes.
Robin Sue?
Approve.
Lily?
Approve.
And I approve as well. The Title I funds, is this just an explanation of what we'll be voting on later? Or,
So this is an annual piece that we have the board approve allowing the superintendent to receive these funds. And also, I believe this is also tied to the motion of having Bar Harbor be the fiscal agent for the AOS. So we only have to do it one time. I see Julie nodding her head and Nancy as well. That we've done this in previous years, but we can take any questions the board may have.
but I think Julie just discussed this at the AOS meeting. So if does anybody have any further questions about this?
We use these funds for literacy ed techs at Barber School.
Do you want to vote on this now, or do you want to wait and do this down below in the action items?
You can do it now if you want.
All right, can I have a motion? Anyone?
Someone
I
want-
move, I'll
okay.
move to use I don't know how that you want it actually worded, but
If I may, I can recommend that you move to authorize the superintendent to receive
Title I.
and utilize Title I food funds, and also to allow for Bar Harbor School Department to act as the fiscal agent for the AOS 91 for fiscal year 21.
so moved.
I'll
You
second.
get that, Barb?
Yeah,
Okay,
somewhat.
who's seconding? Robin Sue? Any discussion? Okay, Marie,
Approve.
Dwayne,
Approve.
Robin Sue,
Approve.
and Lily?
Approve.
And I approve as well. Good. Barb, do you want to talk about the end of the year activities and start of the year? Is that you or Mark?
I can just start by saying it's still to be determined. The elementary principals are going to be meeting on Wednesday to talk. I mean, it's really clear we need to do something not only to honor and celebrate our 8th graders, but also plan on, when we do come together, honoring and celebrating all of our students. So we're hoping to do something. We're hoping that each school will have unique challenges and celebrations, but we also want to do something sort of in keeping with one another too. So I'll have more information, and we'll try to keep information going between parents and students and and trying to get some input. We've got a couple of surprises that we've already been able to pull together for kids, you know, to honor the 8th graders. So I hope that will, you know, just, it'll be different. I guess that's the biggest thing. It's going to be different. And so once we start putting some stuff together Wednesday, we'll reach out to you guys too and make sure that, you know, if you have some input, you let us know. They've been great. I mean, the good thing is there've been some really unique and great ideas that people are sharing across the country and across the state. So it will be different, but it will be no less celebratory.
I
And I
think,
know, I can speak for Barb that she's been, this has been on her mind since we left school. And so I know that it's not like on the back burner. I know she's been working on this for the end of school and the start of school and how to get closure. So I for one, you know, trust you, Barb, and I know that you're working on it.
I would also add, Christy, the administrative team has been working really hard with teachers, and the board will receive information very soon in terms of how we look to close out the last third of our year. Certainly conversations with parents and students and you know, meeting the needs of what happened in the last third of the year, what were the successes, what were the challenges, and how we can make sure that people's voice is heard through that. In addition to things that we're going to lay out for the board in terms of how that time will be utilized between now and the end of the year for teachers as well. So that information is coming out very, very soon, but we've been meeting regularly, and we met this morning for an hour as well. So I don't know if Julie or Barb, if you want to add anything to that as well.
I think I'm all set.
Does anybody have any questions or comments regarding that?
I just know that I would just say as a parent and as a school board member, I can tell you that, you know, as you know, we're not all alone in really wondering like what this last third of the year has meant for, I mean, for educationally, I think, you know, we're so lucky. I mean, like you talk about Maslow pyramid of like, what are your needs? And the schools obviously proved once again that they're the heart of our communities because they fed people, they connected people, you know, they did everything within their power within their buildings to meet all those needs of our community. And we're so lucky. And I think now that those systems have been through complete blood, sweat, and tears of every staff person that's employed by this district, now that those have been really solidified and there's been some test runs on those, I think people, you know, are feeling like they want to know what this all meant educationally. And even more so, they want to know what this means for the fall. You know, we've talked about this at the AOS level at our last meeting a little bit, but I would say those concerns are still out there. I mean, I'm one of those people that have those concerns about what it looks like for how we're going to move forward from an education point of view. What do our teachers, you know, what do our teachers need? What does our staff need? I mean, here we go once again, Barb and Heather, you know, they're doing all the things that, you know, if principal were only the thing that they really did, and vice principal were only the thing that they really did, and working with teachers and learning were only the thing that they really did, but they're organizing food and like boxing up carrots and, you know, like, I mean, they're doing all the things that we need, not just the things that somebody's calling me for some reason, not just the things that we do as a school. And so at the end of the day, when we've got those things and those processes through trial and error and everything, what does it mean for us educationally as a school? Like, what are we doing? How are we doing it? And most importantly for me, like, what does that data look like? Are we talking to every teacher, every staff person, every student? Are we asking the right questions when we're doing these surveys? Are we touching on the emotional needs and the physical needs of food? We've done a great job at that. Are we going to talk about the educational needs? What worked, what didn't work? what parents perceived worked and what didn't work for their individual kids. So those are the things, I know that they're probably more at the AOS level, but the meetings sort of are, that meeting's not until next month. And I want to make sure that my thoughts are captured like that, because I feel like they're thoughts that a lot of us have.
Yeah.
And that we're really worried about. And the idea of, someone, I think at the last AOS meeting was saying, well, we'll just, not a teacher, but somebody said what the idea of just catching up in the fall. And I think all of us know that that's not really how we're going to catch up. So anyway, just kind of echoing that idea again of what do our teachers, our parents, and our staff need to get our education back to where, for what we've lost. And I don't know the answer to that, but anyway.
And it's a two-pronged question too, because it's, what do we need to get back to where we were at, but also what worked, what didn't for students and for parents and for teachers, because I don't think this is, I think will end in June, but I think at some point during next year, we'll probably be working with remote learning, whether it's the beginning of the school year, whether it's, a short break, if we have another outbreak or whatever. But there's a lot to be learned, I think, through a survey for parents and for staff and for students as applicable.
Agreed. And I feel like there could be a number of different surveys that could go out that really could to start eking out, the nuances of the different experiences by middle level, by the younger kids, by parents versus, like I said, I feel as though it was, magic that you guys figured out the technology and the food in like the 2 weeks that we were, but then what are the other things? I'm sure that teachers are going to have some great ideas once they have a chance to breathe and clean up their classrooms and get beyond the trauma of what we're going through and have a little bit of a summer break. I'm sure they're going to come up with lots of things that they, think of that are going to, be instrumental in helping us get back to this, maybe if we have to in the fall, or get back to this maybe next year. And I think that it's really important to give them the time they need to do that. And I think it's really important to keep asking the question over and over and over again in multiple ways to multiple audiences. Because even if you like use me for an example, I would have 2 sets of experiences for each of my kids about how this is going and what was successful and what wasn't. So I think it's important to capture that, because we don't always want to aim for like the middle, right? Like we don't always want to aim for the middle, because that's not who we are. Like this district does not aim for the middle. Like, so we have to make sure that we are, making sure we're providing rigor and we're providing the expectations of where they really should be, and figuring out a way to get people staggered to, meet them where they are along that rigor and that expectation. So anyway, I know we have to leave in 45 minutes. So I just wanted to get that out there, and happy to continue the conversation if it comes up again, when it comes up again.
Julie, did you want to add anything? I think I interrupted you.
No, I don't need to. I just wanted to reassure the whole board that we're thinking a lot, and we're thinking fast, and we're thinking in a lot of different directions, and we're having a lot of conversations, trying to figure out how to bring things to a close, how to get that kind of input, how to make plans, how to support teachers with instructional grants for this summer, how to help them see best practices and what we're calling amphibious design that can, instruction that can stay solid and stay strong, whether you're in person or whether you need to go remote. And also capturing, like you said, you had 2 different experiences in your house, and I don't know what they were, but we have kids who are doing really well. We have kids for whom this was a better fit than, there weren't that many, but there are some for whom this was a better fit than.
I have one that was a better fit, and I have, I have a regular.
From that. And I think we need to really learn about what are the pieces of the teaching and learning that are critical to build into design. I'm really proud of what we did as on an emergency basis, but we don't want to do that starting in the fall.
I think there's a lot of silver linings in this, and I think the reflection is an important component from all facets. At the end of the day, when we do return back to normal, there's some silver linings here. We may have possibly seen our last snow day. There are things, as Julie mentioned, that the way kids learn, their learning styles being addressed, and things that we can weave into what we know as our traditional practices. And I think it's important to consider those, but we'll need time to do that. But I couldn't be prouder of Barb, Heather, the staff, Julie, and the teachers for doing what they can right now. But we all know that it doesn't replicate what we do day in and day out. And if we are going to continue in this mode, we're going to have to up our game. We know that.
Sorry, I'm semi-distracted. There's people at my door and there's a lot of yelling happening out. Not me yelling, but conversation from a car. Sorry. Anybody else have any more? Julie, did you finish what you wanted to say, or are you good? Let's move on to the nomination of an election of our probationary teachers.
Yes. So Christy, I have,
The list?
yes, I do. And what I'd like to, if I may, we can do this in a couple, sorry about that. Sorry. There we go. I can read the names that are recommended to the school committee: first year to second year, second to third, and third to continuing contract. We have 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. We have 12 individuals. So if we could, I'd like to take it by cohort. And then certainly Barb has a narrative and an overview of each individual. Just to remind the school committee that these nominations of probationary teachers would allow these individuals either to continue on in their probationary status or in the third cohort move to continuing contract. So this is significant. I want you to know they go through a rigorous process of reflection and evaluation, and certainly both Barb and Heather are involved in that, as is Julie. So would you like, Christy, would you like me to just read the slate of the first year and hold for that?
Yes, and then this, you're nominating.
Yes.
Okay.
So I'm pleased to nominate Brian Cody, Christina Parkinson, and Melissa Veith for moving from first year probationary status to second year. Melissa is the school nurse, Brian in science, and Christina elementary education teacher.
Technology,
Sorry, excuse me. Thank you, Barb.
K through 8 technology, yep.
Yeah, thank you.
And I have a motion.
I move that with the slide, I guess.
Yes. From first to second year.
Yeah. Yes, from first to second year. Right.
That was Dwayne and Robin Sue second.
Yeah, but I have a question.
Okay, yeah.
So I don't understand with Chrissy Parkinson. So because, I mean, I know she switched positions, but so that moved her back to being first year again?
It did because she severed employment with us. She had resigned. And so we had to rehire. So that put her in that situation.
Okay.
But thanks for asking.
Good catch.
Any other questions? Okay, we'll vote. Marie? Dwayne?
Approve.
Robin Sue?
Approved.
Lily?
Approve.
And I approve, so that's unanimous.
Thank you. Thank you. So the next cohort are individuals who have fulfilled 2 years of probationary status, and we're recommending them to move to their third and final year of probationary status. Danielle Emmons, Daniel Granholm, Mary McKay, Megan Monzillo, and Jamie Young.
I'll move to approve second year to third year.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Dwayne Bolt seconding. Are there any questions?
Your question.
Julie? Yes?
So when they get to the point of being on this list, that means you've already like, I don't know, is there some process that you, evaluation, like extensive process you go through
Yes.
before you make this recommendation
Yes.
to us? So we can be fully confident that you're 100% thrilled to have us do this.
So Barb can talk a little bit about that process, but yes, before, so the short answer is yes, Lily, she can walk you through that. And then Barb and I have a conversation about each of the individuals before I make the recommendation to the school committee. Barb, would you
Okay.
like to add anything?
So there is the supervision and evaluation protocol, which includes student feedback, parent feedback, observations. It also includes mentor teacher working with new staff. So I think it's probably more rigorous than other systems. It definitely is a professional growth model where teachers are working on growing their craft, if you will. Trying to think if there's anything else. We have been, I think, extraordinarily lucky in hiring some really strong folks and been able to help them grow in their positions. So I think we still enjoy our reputation of having strong staff, strong students, strong community support.
Awesome. Thank you.
And also add to Lily, if there was a recommendation from Barb not to renew a contract, that gets discussed with Mark. And if the decision's made to not renew a contract, we don't vote on that because hiring decisions are made between at the administrative level, correct? Unless there's
Correct. The name wouldn't come forward.
right.
The name simply wouldn't come forward. And
is
it
correct.
should be noted that recently, probably 4 or 5 years ago, maybe it's even been longer, we went from a 2-year probationary status, which really was a year and a half, to a 3-year probationary status, which really has been helpful.
Yes, it's been very helpful. And the state has just decided, under the advisement of the teachers union, to go back to 2 years, which is going to be, I don't know any administrators who have been unhappy about the 2 to 3 years. It's given us an extra chance to see people and to coach people and to really be sure. But starting after next year, it's going back to 2 years.
And
I
to
think
be
it's
honest,
been beneficial
it's
to,
an advantage for teachers, because anybody who's only been able to show a year and a half, we don't have to give a reason. And so there's going to be some people who maybe would have come through, but will not in this.
yeah, I would echo that. I think the huge benefit is to the teacher in terms of making sure that it's the right fit for them and they're getting the feedback so that they can grow. And let's remember, the philosophy we hold on supervision evaluation is about improvement. We make a huge investment in bringing these people forward to you. We leave no stone unturned. So at the end of the day, it's really important that we make sure that they're successful as much as they make sure they're successful. So it is a two-way street.
Any other questions? Moving from second year to third year? All right, we'll vote. Marie?
Approve.
Dwayne?
Approve.
Robin Sue?
Approve.
Lily?
Approve.
I approve as well. That's unanimous. Mark?
Thank you very much. And the final slate is these are individuals who have completed 3 years of probationary status, very rigorous process, and are recommended to the school committee for continuing contract. Brian Dion, Carice Hansen, Abby Pappas, and Marcia Reckles.
Need a motion?
I move to approve the, however you want to word it, these people moving on from 3
The
years to
third year
continuing
probationary
contract.
to continuing contract.
I'll second Robin Sue.
That was Lily with the motion and Robin Sue seconding. Any further discussion on these? Okay, Marie?
Approve.
Dwayne?
Approve.
Robin Sue?
Approve.
Lily,
Approve.
and I approve. Congratulations, new contract teachers.
Yeah, and congratulations to all those folks, and thank you for their hard work, and Barb and Heather as well. Appreciate that support.
And next, currently, our truant officer is Jim Willis. Our attendance officer is Jim Willis as well. And our school physician is Cadillac Family Practice.
That's correct.
Would we like to, be looking for a motion to continue these same individuals?
Yes.
So moved. Robin Sue.
Any second?
I'll second it.
Lily is seconded. Any discussion on these positions?
Just for clarification, this is an annual piece we do. So this would be for school year 2021, and it'll be reviewed annually.
Hey, Marie,
Yes, approve.
Dwayne,
I abstain because I work at the hospital.
okay? Robin Sue,
Approve.
Lily,
Approve.
and I approve as well. And then the other annual motion is, can we make before the summer, is to authorize the superintendent to apply for and receive state and federal funds. Do you want to elaborate on that, Mark?
Well, I think we did that earlier when we were discussing use of
That was
Title
on
I and
Title I
2A
and
funds.
No, we have two different,
think
we have to
we've
have
covered
two
that.
different motions.
I'm sorry, Barb?
We have to have two different motions. One is for you to, the first motion that we did was to receive, let's see, to spend Title I and Title
I'm not
II
cooking any
funds.
food. The fridge is filled with food.
And then this one is to authorize you to apply for and receive state and federal funds.
Thank you.
And
Little
we'll-
housekeeping. Thank you, Barb.
So we just need a motion.
So
I
moved.
moved. So,
Who moved? I'm sorry.
Look like Robin Sue, and then,
Sorry, Lily.
are you seconding?
oh, I don't care.
Would you like to second that?
Sure.
Okay. Are there any questions? All right, Marie. Do you-
Oh,
I ran her
wait.
lip.
I approve. I'm sorry. I'm having a hard time with this mute button for some strange reason.
Dwayne,
Approve.
Robin Sue,
Approve.
Lily,
Approve.
and I approve. So that's unanimous.
And Christy, I apologize if I confused you because I thought you did a vote earlier, but
Nope.
appreciate it. This is housekeeping. Thank you.
I'm assuming there's no public comment or questions from Brian, Barb at this.
I
nothing
received
has
nothing.
come.
I checked with Selena, and if we receive any public comment, we'll report it at the next meeting, but I don't know if Barb has anything further.
I don't have anything further.
Is there any other business for anybody?
I just would like to say that I've missed seeing you guys, and I think this is great that we're getting back into our regular rhythm of school committee meetings. And if it pleases the school committee, I hope we can continue the process through the summer, because I think conversations are important to keep them going. Information's important to keep you updated, and so we would be available if that's what you'd like to do, to keep everybody updated and make sure people are in the loop. Thank you.
Yeah, I think this summer, I mean, we always meet when we need to, but I think, that we plan on meeting again in June and probably again in July.
Yep.
Either by Zoom or maybe in person, by July or August, we'll see. But I just have
The
one,
other thing too, I'm not sure about town meeting in terms of the date, but
my question.
that'll probably be at the end of June, but most town meetings have been moved to the July timeframe. So Christy, I don't know if you want to expand on that.
I think Bar Harbor has set their town meeting for June 30th and then the written election for July 11th. And I have spoken to Cornell, and there's not a plan yet. And I expressed our willingness to work together. You know, I don't know where that town meeting would have to be, in the gym, up at the high school, in the municipal building. I think it all has to be worked out. And I just told Cornell that we were available to work it out together. To, you know, so I'm sure you echo that, Mark.
Yep, absolutely.
And then I don't know if Dwayne and Rob and Sue, were you able to get your papers turned in?
Mine's almost filled out. I'm working on it.
Please.
Sign it.
I have 27 signatures. I just want to get one or two more and then get it in. If I drop it in the mail tomorrow.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank
And I
you.
know you guys see Mark's message about you get to stay in term until your replacement comes. So there's no lapse. I don't know that anybody's running against the two of you anyway. Not that I know of. Okay. Any future agenda items? Oh, sorry, Lily. Did you?
I just have a comment or something, so I don't know where that fits in.
Oh, you in other business?
Okay.
Go ahead. No, that's
Oh, okay. We're in other business. Okay, I'm just, you know, at the start of all this, it kind of upset or turned upside down all of our lives, and so, you know, I'm not. This is not necessarily a negative comment about how disconnected I feel. It's just moving forward, I would like to figure out how to feel more connected to what's happening so that I can tell people who are expecting me to know what is going on. And I know it changes every day, and I am so appreciative and have so much respect for the administration and staff and all that you're doing. I wish I could be helpful to you. I just don't know how to do that. But I also was hoping that maybe we could figure out, or you could direct me, like, where should I be looking for updated information, or should I be asking for maybe a quick synopsis of things you're thinking about and talking about with board chairs? And you know, I know that people know things, and part of it, I'm sure, is my own fault for getting sucked up into the vortex of my life, but today's a new day and I want to be more informed as I move forward. So I'm just sort of asking what best way to do that.
I think Lily, but well, let me answer before Mark. I mean, Mark has been pretty good at sending out the updates, which are pretty much a summary of when you see those daily updates from Mark. That's
I
pretty.
don't see those.
Maybe you're not, because Mark's been sending out emails to the board like after every board chair meeting, which pretty much summarize all the decisions, I think.
No,
So
I've never seen that.
not getting. And I just wanted to add on a light note, Lily, that you're about to get very informed when you take over as the board chair for the Bar Harbor School Board. I don't know when that's going to be, if it's going to be in June or if it's going to be later, but you're going to be sorry. You're going to be so informed. But Mark, do you want to address that?
Yeah. So first of all, I want the board to know that, you know, this very unique time has been interesting for all of us. No different though, if you're a parent and a board member. And the last thing I ever want board members to feel is that they're out of touch and they don't know information. And that resonates with me. I've heard a number of you. I think the one thing that's going to be important is that we continue these regular meetings. Obviously, we'd like to do them in person, but we haven't met for a while. And that contributed to, I think, some of that angst. I'm not saying it's an excuse, it's just the reality. So it took us a while to figure it out. The AOS, it's actually, the first AOS meeting that we had was actually, well, yeah, it was the second one but we haven't had a lot of these. And the technology, I have to give a shout out. Those folks are doing a great job. So I think we've crossed that hurdle. So now we have a modality that we can have these meetings and we can do them with public comment and we can keep board members connected. And that's why I recommended, I think we need to continue through the summer. That's one. Number two, Christy's right, but these updates that were happening daily have come less frequently because there isn't a whole lot of new information. But as I provide information, certainly to the board chairs or talk with them, I cascade that out to the AOS. I think that in and of itself, what I'm hearing is I probably need to get more updates out there so people know if there is or is not new information. That's number two. Third, Barb, through newsletters is certainly right what you're going to get for immediate information for kids and staff. That's another piece. Our website is a third piece. We will do our updates and post it there. So if you're looking for information, or the community is, I think the first place to go is to the school websites and or the district one. Secondly, anybody can email any administrator. I know Heather and Bob are right on top of it. And if they don't have the answer, the key staff will be brought into the loop. So, I would just say, I feel badly that, that angst is there, but we're working on it. And I think these things that I mentioned will help us get to a place where, like we were before, no surprises, and board members being in the know and parents and students being in the know. I should also mention too, I've maintained communications with the association presidents virtually. So we're trying to, check that box as well. But any feedback you guys have in terms of how we can do this better, we want to make sure that we're responsive to it. I don't know if Barb has anything to add, or Heather or Julie. Or
I'm
Neil.
just wondering, Lily, are you getting the school newsletter weekly?
I'm not, and I think because
Oh,
I
I
don't
thought
have
we
a
had you on
student,
that list. We really worked.
because I don't have a student there, and I actually, it might also be my fault because I can't access my Spectrum email, and I changed my email, and I changed it with Selena, but I don't think it got like into the other side of things. So
Okay.
it could be completely my.
All right. So we'll have Selena send us your new email address, and then I'll get it out to Chrissy.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
And I think too, I think when we had our first board chair meeting shortly after the school shut down, I think I sent you all a kind of a summary email afterward to let you know what was going on. And I'll say that I have not been doing that after every meeting. And so I'll try to be a little better about communicating the things you need to know as well. I've been kind of stressed out here, but I feel like
No, I totally get it. I'm not trying to be critical. I'm moving forward,
I
just
know, but
wanting to be more
we all have
involved.
lots of hats, and I got to put all your hats on at different times. So we'll
And
work.
certainly anytime any of you have a question, email, call, don't hesitate. We that's why we're here.
Thank you.
And now future agenda items, maybe obviously remote learning and
Yeah, we'll have an update for the board
Update
in terms of
this year.
how we're going to close out the year, those details. And certainly Barb will have information on end of the year activities for students, and we'll be reporting out on that. I don't know if there'll be any additional updates with regard to budget. I would say, in addition to the things reaching out with Cornell and the select board, we need to include the warrant committee, or at least include them in that communication. I don't know, Barb, if there's anything other than that. The big thing today was getting through our nominations of our teachers, but Barb, anything else?
Not that I can think of. We're in the middle of a horrific storm down here. So everything's
Oh,
gone black and crazy.
Sorry.
Oh, I hope it's not coming our way. Marie?
I was just going to add, at the next meeting, when you do the summary of what the last, the now and in the fall, and I'm sorry to keep harping on this, but I'd love to hear, Julie mentioned that there were maybe some instructional grants or something like that in the summer. I'd love to hear just a skeleton of what we can provide teachers and staff. And, I know we are, again, being very responsible with our budget, and that's what we should be doing, because everyone is terrified, especially us business owners. But, you know, for instance, if there's something that Julie or the teachers come up with where there's a monetary value attached to some training that's going to help teachers this summer feel empowered and experts in some sort of some way to translate their curriculum over online. I think that, you know, $5,000, $10,000, whatever, out of what we're saving this year would be a really wise investment. I mean, I just feel like we've got to make sure that what teachers and staff need to get to the next level, after we're done with this trauma, after we're done with this, whatever, you know, this has been, to prepare them so that they feel really good and really confident about how to move forward to the next step. So I know I've said that like 10 times now, but I would love to know what a skeleton would look like, and if there's a way that us as school board members can help to bolster that and show the importance of that money, if it's money, whatever those supports are, we can show the importance, because we've got a lot of really great stuff that we've done. And I'm sure there's things that people would want to do better and do more of, and some things do less of, and let's get it out there so we can blast that out to the community.
I really, really appreciate that support, Marie. And I just want you to know, I'm talking with all of the principals, and we're talking about all kinds of things, that structures. And so I certainly expect, Mark has asked me to attend these meetings if I can. I expect that each school will have a plan. I expect that we came up with 7 different things that we want to be paying teachers to do this summer with support, professional development and coaching. I'm thinking about some groups that need to be convened. There's a number of different things that are, I'm not trying to not be clear. I don't want to get out in front of the decisions by the people who are involved right now. So I think it's very reasonable at the next meetings to ask for updates on those things.
Lily?
I just was curious, what are we doing about the middle level question on ballots and that
Still on the
conversation?
June ballot.
And so should we talk about that in the future meetings? Just like how do we go from here with that?
I think we talked about it. We can talk about it, but we talked about it at the AOS meeting, and I think ways to try to put some information out in the paper as to what the vote means. But is there more than that we need to?
Well, I just think that it's not
after June. That's what I guess I'm asking you.
I just feel like it's not something we should not talk about, keep talking about, because if we don't talk about it somehow, or keep informing people that the conversation is an open conversation, it's not a decision. I'm just afraid we're going to lose, if we haven't already, all the ground that we had. So I don't want to drop the balls, basically what I'm saying.
Yep. And we can follow up on that again in the next agenda in early June before the vote. Okay. And I throw on here, Mark, have you any news about negotiations and kind of an agreement with the teachers to association presidents that we're moving that to the fall, or do we need to communicate with the association presidents?
There's really no update in that regard. I mean, we're on track to begin our collective bargaining process. And the school committee would, want to name their representatives, but we plan to be at the table in the fall with the association, moving collaboratively forward. But no, we're on track for our timeline. We're not behind. Assuming that it could be interesting, because if we are in a remote situation, I don't know what negotiations look like virtually. That thought hasn't even crossed my mind, but let's hope that's not the case.
We get to drink martinis if we're doing it virtually.
So next meeting date. So in order to meet before the vote, again, would be meeting like a regular first Monday in June, if that's everybody's preference? Or I don't know when that AOS meeting is scheduled.
Haven't scheduled that through Heather, and I think the next step is probably have a board chair update and do that. But you know, again, if we can keep to the normal rotation, and that's the normal rotation, I believe, that's important to do. And it doesn't preclude us from having extra meetings. If the board wants to have additional updates or meetings, we can do that. But I'd recommend staying in the rotation right now.
Okay.
And then we can provide updates accordingly. But I think it is important to continue to meet regularly.
Okay, so it looks like it'll be the first Monday in June,
Which is June 1st.
June 1st
Great.
at 4:30. Okay, and then if nobody has anything else, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Nobody wants to adjourn?
Second.
Who was the first? I didn't get
It
it.
was Robin.
Robin Sue was the
So-
first and Dwayne was the
Dwayne.
second.
And then do we vote? All in favor?
Yes,
Marie,
yes.
Dwayne, sorry,
Yes.
Robin Sue, that's a yes. I see your hand up. Lily Semays,
Yes.
I vote. So it's good to see everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, you too.
Thank you.
Good seeing everyone.
Appreciate it.
Take
Thank
care,
you.
everyone.
I'm happy
Thank you.
to sign your paperwork if you're embarked.